ABS 333 preach. It's one of the hardest things ever is not having your kids around. So, but no, what I was saying is, there's big misconceptions on the drug test. People think that I'm either not doing drug tests, which is false. Again, the moment a judge ordered us to do drug tests, we immediately complied. We did one voluntary test prior to being ordered. That's the test that was entered into one voluntary urinalysis test, I should say. That's the test that was entered into evidence at our hearing. That test is on like June 7th or whatever. We took it, might have taken it June 6th, I don't know, doesn't matter. We did one voluntary urinalysis test prior to being ordered to test. And of course that one was clean too. But that's the only test we chose the timing of for urinalysis. And then we were ordered to random testing. We complied immediately. We've been random testing since that June 7th hearing. And, and like I said, the county pays for those because it's part of a juvenile protection matter, not a criminal matter. So they're different. There's just, look, people just don't know. They don't know this because it's different by state. It's different state versus federal. In federal criminal trials, the feds pay for your drug testing. In state court in Minnesota, they don't. So, anyway. But yeah, I don't know what else to say. Lots of misconceptions out there. People think we're dodging drug tests or gaming the system. Look, we're on the random testing system. We've had clean tests for all of them. So the idea is to examine things with a shifted common morality and say there's some things in the Bible that Jesus does or says that goes against the moral acceptance of the modern day. Does that make him a sinner? Does that make his sacrifice less impactful? Does that change his divinity? I don't think so. Not to me, but maybe it does to someone else. I don't know. That's up to them. And that's why like people get really worked up about this topic. It's like, well, here's what I did is I went through and I explored this stuff and I evaluated it based on my understanding of faith, and I go, yeah, to me this Jesus guy still kind of seems like the Son of God who really matters and who died for our sins. One of the things that bother people is I'm not so sure that I'm down with the idea that God sent Jesus specifically to get killed by humans. Like I don't necessarily think that he did that. There is a shifting perception of sin. Whether or not there's a shifting reality of sin is a different question. But there's a shifting perception of sin. Many people today would consider Christ of the Bible to be less than perfect. Does that mean he's less than perfect? No. Many would consider him to be less than perfect. Well, he hung around with prostitutes and tax collectors and, politicians or whatever. And some people think that in and of itself is negative. And they're like, well, or they like excuse it going, well, I couldn't do that, but only Jesus could do that. People today, would PPP consider someone who hung around me to be a sinner just by default? Maybe, right? I don't know. I haven't asked him. But there are people out there who believe that who you associate with is definitionally sin. So Jesus, the Pharisees of the time, would have said that Jesus was a sinner based on the company he kept. They tried over and over. He corrected them, but he gets to correct them because he's God. But if we are unable to comprehend God, then how are you able to speak about God at all? Aren't you worried about being incoherent? No, that's the thing that... Bro, you don't understand how air molecules go into your body and make your dick hard. Like, you don't actually understand that. Like, I don't care what your degree is in. You do not know how an O2 molecule goes from here into my lung, into my blood, to make my blood strong, to go down to my penis and make it erect. Like, you don't know how that happens. Like, you could maybe say you know that it happens. But the process by which that occurs is phenomenal. It's absolutely incredible and so far outside of a basic understanding of reality when you think about it. Like, explain air to yourself. Who was it? Pete Holmes says this great little bit, and he's like, explain molecules. Well, the first thing he says, he's like, you think you're in your house right now? Zoom out. You're standing on a space rock, floating through infinite nothingness that's getting bigger. Like, that's impossible to understand. And then he says, think about molecules. Like, there's a set of molecules that make up Pete Holmes and a set of molecules that make up a chair. And when he sits on them, those molecules, one, don't pass through each other. And two, they know what they are. Like, they know that when he stands back up, the molecules that are Pete stay on Pete. Molecules that are chair stay on the chair. It's almost impossible for us to understand no matter how many science books we've read. But we know that they happen. Reality itself around you is absolutely incomprehensible. And yet, we get it. We can describe it imperfectly. It's like, well, why don't the molecules go through? It's like, well, because there's like these electron clouds, man. And like those clouds generate a charge, and that charge is like repulsive. It's like strongly repulsive, like some magnets and shit. Like, no, it's like really weak. But like strong enough to keep your ass from falling through a chair. Because there's enough space between your ass molecules and chair molecules that you would pass through it if you were allowed to. But something keeps you, like, and makes you land there. And we go, well, oh, of course it does. All right. It's late. I've got an early morning tomorrow and a big day with the kids. So I'm going to buzz out for the night. I hope you guys have a great one. Oh, wait, there's a tip from Espresso D. Sorry. Says, Rekieta, that's actually reasonable. Also, thanks for being under the thumb of government in order to teach us this lesson. Oh, wait, yeah. Just wait. Just you wait. I think there's, again, the story will be told in court, and then it can be discussed further when everything's done. But there's a lot. There's a lot. And once I'm able to tell it, one way or another, win, lose, draw, whatever it is, there's a lot to this. It's actually, in many ways, it's been much more painful than you guys know. And you'll probably be hearing about it. And some of the shit, if I told you now, and again, this is guilty or not guilty, okay? Guilty or not guilty, it doesn't matter. Some of the shit that has that I've discovered in this process about like how everything came to be and everything like that is, you won't believe it from just my words. So, but someday. But until that day, fighting for my family, fighting for my freedom, and we'll just, God damn, the rest of that will